Awesome. Welcome everybody to SALT Project Community Open Hour. I am your host and the SALT Project Community Manager, Janae Andrus, and we are excited. It's July 8th and we're going to do open hour. So open hour is fantastic because it is our time to connect with you. We are a fantastic open source project and we love connecting with our community because it's all about the community. If you want more information, you can go to saltproject.io. And of course, you can always reach us at saltproject@vmware.com or really 1,000 other places. We are on Slack. We are on YouTube. We are on GitHub, where we stream on Twitch. We have a cool subreddit. And of course, we're on all the social channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. We have awesome things there. Come and find us. I think YouTube is my favorite of all of these because we have so many playlists. And Open Hour is on YouTube and Salt Air is on YouTube and the working groups are on YouTube. There's all kinds of stuff on YouTube. It's a lot of fun. So, and there's different Twitch streaming throughout the week that you can be part of. All of that is in our source of truth, saltproject.io. You can reach the calendar and any other events that we have going on. So we're going to dive into our agenda. We'll do some general updates. We will talk about SaltConf. And we won't actually talk much about working groups this week. We'll review the SEPs, the SALT enhancement proposals, nothing new on release updates, but we'll touch on it. And then the time will be yours for any questions and answers that we can provide. So feel free to rack your brain and think of anything you want to ask while we have all those people here. And I do want to point out that we have Jeff Blair with us today. Jeff is the manager of all of our SALT engineers. So he's kind of a big deal. We love Jeff and he's here. Welcome, Jeff.
Hi.
We're glad Jeff's here. Okay. And also just by way of admin, Jeff will be popping in to host a couple of open hours and we may have another one of our engineers host an open hour while some of us are out for July festivities. So, or PTO, all the things. Okay. Let's see. So virtual meetups. We meet virtually monthly on the third Wednesday at 5 p.m. Mountain. Last month, we had 2 meetups and it was awesome. They're both on YouTube. Our July meetup is canceled this month. We just decided to cancel it. We just have, honestly, too many people are out. And if we're going to do it, we want to do it right. So we'll be back in August and it will be wonderful. So our July meetup is canceled. If you're just sad on the third Wednesday at 5 p.m. Mountain, just feeling like this void in your life without your SALT Project virtual meetup, you can jump on YouTube and watch our June meetup again, or our May or April or any of the other wonderful meetups. So we had some really good ones in June in particular. So feel free to check those out. Okay, you think you know what I'm going to say on this slide, but you don't. So store.saltstack.com is still where our store is. And I know I've been saying last chance for SaltStack swag for several months, but it's actually even better now. This is an old screenshot. The new one would show you that it's no longer 60 to 80% off. It is now 80 to 90% off because it is the last month, the official last month. That SaltStack swag will be available. So I've been marking things down all morning and I will finish up a few more things this afternoon and everything is going to be 80 to 90% off. So if you weren't sure about that Death Star poster or the extra pair of socks or a pen or whatever else you want in your life, there's a Patagonia sweater still on there. There's some laptop bags. There's a SaltStack backpack. There's some playing cards for $1, I want to say. Jump on and check them out and get them while you can. This actually is the last month, so then they will go away. And so we marked it down just a touch more. Feel free to jump on store.saltstack.com to grab the goods because the SaltStack logo is no more, and this is the last of it. Okay, and then of course, we want to talk again about our blog. So we have a blog on saltproject.io and it's been relaunched with some new content and we would love to highlight you as a community member. And if you would love to submit a blog, we'd like to prop you up as a thought leader in the industry and be able to show your expertise. If you have a story or some thoughts on anything related to salt, maybe tell us how salt has impacted how you do something day to day, a fix that you found with salt, maybe something you ran into that you solved with salt. We want to hear about it. It does not have to be a huge deal. This will not be as bad as the massive paper you wrote in college. 400, 800 words, throw down your ideas. We are here to edit it for you if you'd like. So absolutely just throw your experience down, write it down. You do not have to be a Hemingway or anything like that. But we don't want to just put your content out without highlighting you. So put down a bio, just type down a couple sentences about how awesome you are and throw that in a headshot over to me at saltproject@vmware.com, throw the blog content into a doc file and we will make it happen. So it's a really good opportunity to be highlighted and we would love to do that for you. So not a big thing, 400, 800 words. If you'd like, it can be longer, of course, if you have more to say, don't feel like you have to pare it down, but don't worry if it's short. Okay. Speaking of highlighting your story, SaltConf 21 is coming up. It will be all virtual November 3rd and 4th. And our theme, as I've told you before, is bigger, better, faster, stronger. So if salt has made anything in your life bigger, better, faster, or stronger, we want to hear about it. So if you have some content that you'd like to submit to be a session at SaltConf, we really want to highlight community members at SaltConf in particular. So you being part of our community will be getting preference for session content. Our call for speakers is open now and will be open through July 26th. So we're getting to almost the halfway point of our 6-week call for speakers. So be sure to submit that. We can't wait to hear from you. If you don't feel like maybe you have enough content to fill an entire session, that's okay. Just submit what you have and we can either pair you up with someone else. We can help you build it into a bigger idea. We really want to hear what you have and we can see what we can do to work with it. So don't worry about having an intensely formal submission. We really do want to highlight community. So we're going to give a lot of leeway. Just go on to saltconf.com and on saltconf.com, you can click submit your proposal. And once you click submit your proposal, it will bring you to a Google form with a ton of information about what we're looking for this call for speakers. So it is not, it's not like as soon as you click the button, you've signed in blood that you're speaking at SaltConf. You're just clicking to get more information. And then once you're ready, you can submit that on the Google form. So get that done. It's going to be great. You have a few more weeks to get that submitted. So we cannot wait to hear how Salt has made things bigger, better, faster, or stronger for you. And again, if you've ever thought about speaking at a conference, maybe you haven't, a virtual event is a really great way to dip your toe in the water, a really great way to break into the speaking world. And we're planning to be live again next year. So this is one of your last shots to get in at SaltConf in a really non-intimidating way. You can do it from the comfort of your home, and we will do a dry run with you beforehand, get you really comfortable with the platform, really handhold you through the experience. So don't be intimidated. Throw us your content. We want to hear it. We are excited. Okay, so working groups. The first week of the month, we do a captain check-in at open hour, and it is not the first week of the month, but just to remind you that on August 5th, we will be doing that again. So if you want to hear how the working groups are doing, we'll do that at that open hour, and we're looking forward to it. Meanwhile, if you'd like to join a working group, you can find them on the community calendar, which is on saltproject.io. And they're really non-intimidating to get involved with. Feel free to join one anytime. Great group of people, all just making things happen. We have a lot of really great working groups and several new ones. So feel free to join those. Okay, our SEPs, our salt enhancement proposals. These are what are submitted to make salt better, to enhance salt. So each process has, needs an FAQ section. It does require 5 approvals from the core team to be accepted once it's submitted. We have very subjective timeframes, and it's not the final implementation plan, but when you submit it, we can review that and look at it and approve it and develop it from there. The ones that we have currently open are these ones here, and I won't go through each one, but they are all on GitHub. If anyone has any questions about these, feel free to raise them. We'll do the Q&A in just a second. And this should be fairly up to date on what phase each of these steps are at. So, okay, and release updates, nothing new. Our 3003.2 release is still scheduled for August 4th. And all of these dates are still accurate as of today. So that's where we're at with release updates. And when our release manager's back next week, I believe, she may have more information for us. So here's where we're at today. Okay, that is all we have from us. So the rest of the time is yours for Q&A. If anyone has anything they'd like to bring up, SALT project related, or just really good jokes, we would love to hear from you. I take the silence to mean that SALT is working beautifully and perfectly for everyone, and everyone's 100% happy.
Well, and the only joke I can think of is really stupid, so I'm afraid to share it.
Those are the best kind.
Those are the best kind, and you clearly
All right.
haven't heard Wayne's jokes.
All right, so I used to hate a beard, but then it grew on me.
Nice.
That was painful, huh?
Proof father.
I do have a question about Minion Swarm.
What was that, Andrew?
A question about Minion Swarm. Is that
Yep.
Is that supported here? Is that something I can bring up here?
Please do. Yeah.
Okay, let's see, where am I? So I'm trying to use Minion Swarm, and I got a first test working yesterday. I was able to get up 400 minions pretty quickly, but it took a lot of resources. So I wanted to find out if my resource usage met kind of expectations, and then kind of get an idea of how maybe Legion would offset some of the resource usage, and then if there are any planned new features or updates for either Legion or Swarm. For Minion Swarm, I was able to, like I said, bring up about 400 endpoints, and but I needed a VM with 10 CPUs. It maxed out at about 32 gig on bringing all the endpoints up, or bringing all the minions up, but then kind of leveled off. The RAM usage leveled off significantly after that. And I was just wondering, is that expected for that number of minions? And is this something that Legion helps address? I'm kind of new into this, so I guess that's where I'll start my very open-ended question. Apologies for that.
No, that's fine. Is that Murphy question or?
Last time I tried to do Minion Swarm, I think I got 250 up, and I did have to have a pretty beefy box on it, but I thought it was because I was doing Windows.
Okay. No, I did. Yeah, I'm trying to bring up tests like, say, 2,000 to 2,200, and ours was on an Ubuntu box. So maybe the OS doesn't really matter so much in resource usage.
Well, sounds like you had better luck with Ubuntu than I did with the Windows.
Okay.
So as far as I understand, it does, it is going to take at least some amount of memory, probably a pretty beefy amount of memory, even though it's less than like a full minion. But I think that Legion is quote unquote more active than Minion Swarm. At least I recall more recently that there's been some work on Legion. So
Okay. So I had a bug trying to get, and I'll send it maybe in Slack when I get the exact error because I couldn't get Legion to work, and it's not worth trying to describe why until I get my notes. I'll put that on Slack, and I'll probably tag you, Wayne, if you don't mind.
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
Don't we use Legion to test our enterprise?
I believe so.
We do.
Um,
We do. We would need to check in with Travis and Glacier on what kind of resources and what kind of minion counts they're getting.
yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And how they're setting it up, because he's having a problem getting Legion up.
Yeah.
And I guess my last question then is when using minion swarm, and I supply, let's say, a command.run task, and I want to run like a simple ls on a directory or something like that. When I submit it to the minion, like a single swarm, does a single swarm respond, or how does that work when I send commands to it?
I'm not super familiar with it. Like I've never, I haven't personally used it. I've just seen it been used. And my understanding is that it kind of responds like a typical minion. It's just less. So each of the minions would respond, but I think it, yeah, I'm not positive about that.
Okay. Cool. I'll
I thought it was more to simulate load on the master, so the minion's not really doing stuff underneath, but it's returning stuff on the event bus so that the master sees all these events coming in, and we're making sure we can handle a certain number. That was my understanding of it.
Yeah, that sounds correct.
So if you do a list directory, it's not really, it's just going to return something. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I actually think that, and I could be wrong because the last time I touched that was a long time ago. I think there's like one minion, and then we create like light copies of it, and so we actually get a reply for the minion, and then we copy to the other minions that response, that reply, and make all minions return to the master. So in truth, it would be one minion doing the job, but it would be 100 or 1000 returning the response, again, to incur load into the master. But it's been quite some time since I went down that path, and I could totally be wrong today. But I think that's how it does things. Don't know about Legion though.
okay. I noticed that when I was bringing up my 400, that I might have been bottlenecked in the CPU. Is it because I noticed some of the endpoint or some of the minions weren't responding, and what I would assume to be a timely manner with respect to the states and beacons and execution modules that I push out as part of my environment. So it might be that even at 10 CPUs for 400 endpoints or minions, I might need even more CPUs still.
yeah, that's what was happening to me when my resources weren't enough. Is it would spin up like 80 of them. Well, it'd spin up like 100, but the last 20 wouldn't ever respond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess just a little bit of scientific wild guessing is that the minions do have to decrypt the message, which is a CPU heavy process. So I'm guessing that what's going on here is because you've got, 100 or 1,000 or whatever number of minions, they are all trying to do that. I'm not sure. Well, you probably don't have over 100 cores, so they probably aren't actually able to run concurrently. So there's going to be a bunch of scheduling going on there, and even though it's quick, when you have a whole ton of them, it's gonna add up, and that's probably what we're seeing here is that the CPU becomes the bottleneck there when it's trying to either decrypt the message, the event, or encrypt the message to send it back to the master.
Right.
But I'm guessing that's what you're seeing there is that that bottleneck. I don't know if there's a good way around it. I'm pretty sure it's not possible to just flat out turn off encryption.
No, yeah, and I wouldn't want to, but I think there's one article, the Salt at Scale kind of tutorial walkthrough does mention the possibility of, well, not recommending to turn off encryption, but to reduce the
Key
the
size?
level of encryption. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, as a way to reduce CPU load as well.
That makes sense. If you went to whatever the lowest smallest key size was, that would certainly reduce that requirement.
Okay.
So that might be a good option to explore. I don't know. I know there's certain bits of software that I've used recently that will just be like, no, you can't make a key size of 512. It's got to be at least 2048 here. So I don't know if anything in our chain has that same limitation or not. But anyways, just something to be aware of, that you may run into that, and you may only be able to go down to a certain size.
So,
but if you could go down to something just ridiculously insecure, like a key size of 128, great. That would drastically reduce your CPU requirement.
So would that mean I would have to recreate all of the minion keys, all the files in the PKI folder?
Yeah, pretty sure that's what that would happen there. I mean, so for your startup the first time, it would take a while, but in theory it shouldn't take that long, especially the less secure the keys, the much faster it is to generate them. I don't think you would even notice how long it takes to generate something as weak as like 128 or 512. That's but those generate very quickly because they could be. I'm pretty sure you can run through that key space in maybe a couple of $1,000s of AWS GPU time, and just brute force whatever is encrypted. So those are as effectively plain text at this point in time.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. I wanted to bring it up. I wanted to find out if my initial findings were at least within the ballpark of expectation. And if not, then what was I doing wrong? But it seems like, at least for the most part, things are going in the right-ish direction.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet.
Awesome. Andrew, thanks for bringing that up. That's a good question.
My pleasure. You guys are awesome.
I apologize if you guys covered this last week because I wasn't here due to the holiday. But what was were you guys able to get basically all of the testing suites kind of in line and in order as part of the war room effort? I know you guys licked a number of them, but I think you still had a bunch of bugs. I think Mac OS was one of them. maybe you can provide a quick update on where we're at with the testing suite.
I know that we did get the Mac OS one fixed. DWAS was able to track that down and put in a fix for that. So that test is no longer failing. I don't see him in the list here. I don't know if Pedro had any other information about that.
So the problem with that test failure was that we were closing and terminating an IO loop on the wrong thread, which was causing a race condition and ultimately making that particular test to fail. The fix was to have the high state class be a context manager, so that we can when it is created and is closed, and that solves the problem. I'm actually working on a follow-up pull request which implements the context manager usage across all our uses of high state. There's no bug, but at least we are making sure that we are using that as a context manager so that we don't hit this hard to find problem again in the future.
Awesome sauce.
Perfect. And Gary, you don't have to apologize for being on vacation. We missed you though. I'm only saying that so everyone will forgive me when I go on vacation and I'm not here. It's like Murphy's got a drop. We'll miss you too, Murphy. And Derek pointed out in the chat that we do actually have a new SEP that was not updated in the slides. I did not add that one in, and it should have been on there. So it's a new SEP that actually Tom posted for inclusive language, and it should be the one that we look at. Derek said it better. It's meant to supersede a different proposal. I should just let the tech writer say the things. He said it better. He's not a tech writer. He's an SRE and an amazing one, but very good at writing. So that is the new SEP for the inclusive
writing
language.
powers actually. Once
You lose your writing powers when your
Shit.
title changes?
Yeah,
This is
that's
good
how
to
it
know.
works. Unfortunately.
They were surgically removed, right there.
Yeah, yeah. And then they
I thought that
inserted
was a secret
stuff
VMware
in
process.
my head, yeah.
Oh, I didn't say where they were removed from. I just said they were removed.
Oh
That's
man.
the secret. And I'll
The
mute
link
myself
to
now.
that SEP is in the chat and will be in the notes as well.
Yeah, and the SEP, the purpose of this one superseding that other one is because we had more conversations around SALT specifically, while the initial SEP that was opened was a bit more of a generic inclusive language document, kind of saying, hey, here are things that need to be replaced. But SALT is used as a tool to abstract away the management and configuration and orchestration of other underlying technologies that then may be using different language, etc. And so we needed to have something that was a lot more specific to SALT, to how the SALT master functions, and how a bunch of other stuff that's in there. We also referenced the master to main branch stuff, but that SEP's open to conversation and feedback.
Yeah, and I think it also captured a lot of the discussion that had happened on the previous SEP, and really just clarified and simplified a lot of the discussion that we had, because I think for the most part everybody was on board with most of the changes. There wasn't any real there's really no reason to hold up a lot of that activity. It's just that I think we had the discussion last week that the changing the SALT master terminology is just probably
Wayne's favorite.
And just trying to figure out, okay, what can we do? Because if we tried to just flat out rename Saltmaster, we would break so many things worldwide, because there's so many users of Salt, and they've got scripts, they've got other things configured that use the term Saltmaster or master in relation to Salt. And you know, if we were to just make that change without you know, without many years of advance warning, that would just be there would be chaos in the streets. So anyways, but
Well, that was the
do-
secret plan to invigorate the local meetups, Wayne. We wanted people to come belling out of their houses.
that would certainly do something, I think.
Andrew says that would be salticide.
Sorry. But we have, and it's this decision is aligning with our long-standing effort to avoid breaking existing states. You know, we make a change to Salt, existing states still work, and this aligns with that as well.
Yeah, for sure. So anyways, go check it out. I think that it is a very good step. I think we will yeah. I
And
can't
it is
speak for
important, and
everybody, but I think it will be approved, and you know, we'll start or continue to start, or I guess continue our efforts to get more inclusive language in the places where we have like blacklist and whitelist. I think that's probably the biggest one that we have, as far as is a relatively simple change, and you know, also gets us to the more inclusive and also just accurate language. So yeah.
And those are called out in this blacklist and whitelist, going to allow list, and I think it says
block list.
Block list, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
And one
think
thing
in documentation and in like the salt stack config UI, we'll make the move toward always saying Saltmaster together as a phrase, so that the language is very clear that we're referring to the Saltmaster, and not using the word master by itself.
One thing to just mention briefly, and Wayne kind of touched on it as well, is this is not an overnight thing, us moving towards like more inclusive language. It's a many month, potentially many year thing as we start to go down this path. It's not something that we can like overnight like scrub all the language out of Salt, especially because we touch on and interact with so many other projects that are not going to be on the same timeline as us, and so we have to maintain compatibility with older versions of that software and those systems as well. So unfortunately, the terms will likely be the questionable terms will likely be in Salt for a few years, as we start to as like all of us, all the open source projects and other systems start to move away from using that language.
And I think what Gareth's trying to say is, if you see it misused anywhere, you should blow up his inbox and tell him all about it and say he should have fixed it yesterday.
Absolutely. Yeah, just show up on my front door, 3 a.m. just pounding on the door.
Should we bring pitchforks?
Yes, please. Torches.
Gareth, if you want to have people over, just invite them over.
Yeah.
Gareth, I'll post your address in a moment.
Yes, please do. I've missed people.
All that said, you know, the reason this comes up at all is, you know, because Salt Project is very committed to having inclusive language and to making sure that we are, you know, being an inclusive community, and that is exceptionally important to us, while also being true to the software and not breaking things, as Wayne pointed out really well. So we just want to make sure that that's highlighted, that inclusivity is very important to the Salt Project. I'm also getting in the chat that we need to bring torches, pitchforks, as well as marshmallows and hot dogs to Gareth's.
I would point out, like, it's very dry here, as it is in Utah, I'm sure, at the moment. So maybe like hold off on the torches.
Right. Yeah, actually.
Just use torch in the British term.
Bring your flashlight.
Yeah.
Get
and then
the
it'll-
app on your phone that like looks like a torch.
Just
And hot dogs and marshmallows are a great combo in s'mores. So just add that.
That's true. Gonna
Do
go
we
make a
need to
s'more.
Do we need to talk about the hot dog? What was that? The Twinkie hot dog cheese whiz.
I
thing
knew
again?
this is where that was
Oh,
going,
no.
Jeff. I knew
Twinkie
you were
wiener
bringing that up
sandwiches.
Yeah, that one.
Mm-mm.
If you haven't tried it, I recommend at least experiencing it once.
The only thing I have heard from people's actual experience is that it's shockingly good, and it is. I'm still not brave enough to try it.
Putting a hot dog in a Twinkie.
And then cheese
So-
was on top of that. It's basically just a corn dog. Like it's take everything to the extreme in a corn dog. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But corn dogs don't have cheese whiz, and cheese whiz is just not food. It's awful.
Twinkies are also not food either.
But
Or
that's
hot
that's
dogs, for
not
that
food that's
matter.
delicious. There's not food that's awful, and there's not food that's delicious. They're just all on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Now, Wayne, is it like the people that have reported that it was delicious? Was it like still delicious an hour later when they were like full of regret and shame?
Well, the only, I guess the either the most well, the heaviest evidence, whether for or against, I'll leave that up to the reader to decide. But the heaviest evidence is that Weird Al, even after going vegan, has discovered vegan hot dogs and remains committed to the vegan Twinkie wiener cheese whiz sandwich. So
I feel like that's just going to
I
be
guess
part of
that
his
says
brand. though.
everything that you need to know about them.
I mean, it's Weird Al. I feel like that's just got to be part of his brand to eat that.
I mean, I will say, like, you didn't answer my question, Wayne, so I think we can assume the answer is no.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
I apologize for that tangent. I officially apologize to the group for that tangent.
I think these are the best parts of open hour, though, is these highly philosophical and important discussions.
Yeah, the things that matter. This is kind of, I bet I could read something like this inside Man's Search for Meaning. Could just leave it there, I guess.
I think Janae is disturbed and disgusted by all of us and just left.
Or maybe she's going to go make one of her own.
Or
Yeah,
that is the other
like,
possibility.
That sounds so good. I've
Inspired.
got to
So,
try this out.
I'm going to acknowledge that I've done it. And I made my teenage sons try it too. And every one of them claimed to dislike it, but every one of them ate the entire thing. Not one of us left a piece of it on the plate and said, I can't eat that thing. So I take that as evidence. Either that or it's the whole concept of morbid fascination. I don't know, but they ate the whole thing.
So since you ate the whole thing, Jeff, I can ask you the question that I asked Wayne. Like, how long afterwards were you filled with regret and shame?
So I'm at that age where if I eat the wrong things before bed, I'm not going to sleep well, and that may have happened.
I was gonna say, so you slept like a baby?
If you mean,
I
how
would like to
babies-
clarify that I was not away making one of those terrible sandwiches. I just had a call from my doctor that I had to answer. So sorry.
Is that because you've had a Twinkie wiener sandwich recently?
Right?
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
had to
say,
go to
did
the
you ask
doctor.
them their guidance or their thoughts on this?
No, I have to get an MRI on my shoulder tomorrow, and they were calling to confirm it. Derek can attest to my avoidance of shoulder surgery, and I'm allowing them to do the MRI, but I will
So
probably
I-
not do
I
the
s-
surgery.
I saw in the movies that they might accidentally turn you into a major league pitcher. So let's hope for that.
Yeah.
right.
Rookie of the year.
I can't believe people still remember that movie.
I was gonna say that was quite the reference.
I like baseball movies.
That was a pretty good one. I love that the conceit of that movie is completely bonkers. Like, of all the fantasy movies, that I think is the one that requires the most suspension of disbelief.
I always thought that was the most realistic movie Disney ever made. 12-year-old kid ends up pitching in the major leagues. I mean, what's not to believe there?
Yeah.
I mean, the best baseball movie is still Angels in the Outfield, but that's fine. It's been a long time since we saw that movie.
That has been a golly. I don't even
About
remember
like
how
baseball
old I was
movie.
last time I watched that one.
I don't know, probably about the same time you watched Space Jam, which is coming back. I don't know why.
Because Space Jam was amazing.
No, the first one was amazing. They're going to ruin it.
Well, you know, as they do.
Yes, they do. Anyway, does anybody have anything else for the Salt team while we're here? I think we've covered a wide range of topics. I feel good about it. Other than the nightmares I'm going to have about Twinkies. So.
When we finish up, I've got a joke.
Excellent.
And if you do want to make your own gourmet Twinkie Wiener sandwich, I put a binging with Babbage video in chat.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
All right.
Makes me wonder what Alton Brown has to say about the Twinkie Wiener sandwich.
Andrew, I pulled up your link and I'm going to watch it after open hour.
It's intense. I really appreciate the professionalism he goes into making a Twinkie Wiener sandwich.
All right. I don't know how I'm going to feel after that, but I will have to slack you if it's a horrible experience watching that video. All right. Wayne, you want to wrap us up with the joke?
All right. So it's also very on topic. A termite walks into a bar and asks, "Is the bartender here?"
Is the bar attender here?
Yeah, no, that doesn't go well.
That was
Okay,
both hilarious and terrible.
got it.
Wayne.
Oh, because he's going to eat the bar because it's wood and he's a termite and he wants to know if it's tender. Right. Took me a second.
That's up there with like two guys walking to a bar and the third one ducks.
Yeah. But definitely worse. You have my Amazon delivery driver to thank for that. It was very good.
I heard one the other day that said, why did the fire light up? It was because he found his match.
That one's sweet.
It was my kids asking the Alexa for a joke. So
nice. That's a good one.
Good times. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us for open hour. It's always awesome to connect with everybody, and we'll give you a little time back in your day. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your Thursday. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.